the minutes.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I move that we accept the minutes for Tuesday, October 12th.
I'll second.
All in
That's
favor?
why I don't do it.
So what is the K&E on the bills, Josh?
For the starters for the transfer pump.
I make a motion to accept the bills from October 21.
Second.
All in favor? Passes. Well, I think you probably all know that we lost our building inspector, and so we need to hire a new one. And Wendy, what was the fellow's name?
Tristan Kimball.
From Lewiston, Wendy.
Yep. His business is in Lewiston. He was gonna try to be here tonight, but
Didn't make her
apparently not.
from far, so we just move on.
If you guys wanna discuss it, I think I sent everybody his information. I know that Grangeville has already decided to go ahead and hire him, City of Grangeville.
So is he just asking for the same things that Jim had from
Pretty
us?
much, it sounds like we gave him a copy of the contract that we had with Jim.
But it's Jim, that contract with Jim's really old, so he's saying he might make a few adjustments.
Well, I'd kind of like to meet him.
I was gonna say, I think we should meet him and go to that then.
So if everybody wants to meet him, we'll just have to set up another meeting, call a special meeting for that, unless you wanna wait until December, which I don't know, that's a long time away.
We can, who's doing it for us now?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can figure out maybe a special meeting to at least meet him so we know.
To see what he wants to change.
Right.
Yeah, it seemed like, what he, at Kendrick? Did he go to Kendrick tonight?
No.
There's this next Tuesday.
I don't know if he was going to their council meeting or if he was meeting them at a separate time. I thought he was meeting with them last week. He was also going out to Canada. I mean, he was really trying to kind of hit at least many of the cities that Jim contracted with.
Because it's a long ways around to time he gets to each one of these towns and, you know, so.
Yeah, I think, didn't Grangeville say that they were gonna
They did.
have him as their inspector?
They were going to hire him or contract with him.
So do we need a motion to table it till we can set a special time or something to at least meet him and see what he wants to change? Or,
Unless you guys want to just decide a date right now.
What did you say?
decide a date to meet
Decide a
him?
date.
Or I could give him a call and see
I
if
think we
we
need
can
to find out what he's available.
maybe
Yeah.
throw out a handful of dates and
Yeah, just go from Nick's schedule as far as like his nights and stuff. Is that okay with you? And you? Yeah. So yeah, just coordinate that with Nick, I guess.
okay.
And work around his schedule.
Well, I think you
Their
have mine,
schedule.
you have mine on your phone, don't you? Okay.
We work around my schedule. All right, Baseball Association. All right.
As you can see, I'm not Mike. He couldn't be here tonight, so, and I apologize for the last meeting when nobody was here. I had my flu shot that day, so I was not feeling too good, so. And Mike wasn't able to attend. We weren't really sure how to prepare for tonight, what your questions were and, you know, what you were looking at, and Mike asked me to get a list of your questions, and we would get together as a board and then address whatever your concerns were, and then come back to you with our answers to whatever your questions might be.
I know one of our concerns earlier in the year was at the beginning of each season, you guys change or have electrical done, or you have updates done, or anything that's new or different, just to let us know prior to, so we are involved with anything that's changing.
Something permanent to the park.
Right.
Oh, I see, okay. Like the brand new nets we put up and those kind
Well,
of
that's
things?
pertaining to the park.
Like the
That
lights.
is- that
Like
was
the
the
lighting and
backstop
stuff
net.
like that, yeah.
Right, but there was like electrical work, that there was trenches and stuff that
digging and
was
stuff
digging
like
and
that.
stuff that none of
Oh,
us
that
knew
was for
about.
the lights, the
Yeah.
big lights,
Yeah.
was the main electrical work. Yeah, I understand what you're asking, yeah.
Yeah, so we just would wanna know
Water.
prior to and stuff like that, and what's
Water
going
ran
on.
also.
I'm sorry, what?
There's water ran also.
Oh, okay. That I didn't know. I knew about the electrical because we're trying to get those lights put up and raise money for that.
Well, was there something with the parking or whatever, because wasn't somebody parking on the grass?
Yeah, they're not supposed to go back in there.
And
There's absolutely no reason other than to unload for all those people to park back there.
On the
Past the
gravel.
gates.
Past the
They end up
gravel.
getting on the
Park.
grass and,
Yeah, park in the pavement, in the
Park in
parking
the
lot.
parking lot, not around the gazebo and all in there. And park on the grass and run over
sprinkler heads.
the pipes on the, you know.
you mean out in the baseball field?
No, when you're going to the main
When
field,
you
the
go
gazebo
in-
lakeside,
Around the gazebo.
The gravel.
people are
Right.
going past that fence where you can circle around the gazebo, people are parking in there, and,
It's not just players, it's
Yeah,
people at
it's-
the games.
yeah.
Yeah, it's usually that, and the coaches will park back there to unload their
But the
stuff.
players
They
do
don't-
too.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
players
and
do
the
during
players do,
practices.
yeah.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
players can park in the parking lot. If the guy ambitious enough to play ball, they surely got ambitious to walk from their car to the. And another complaint, but I guess I don't go to the park very often, but I see once in a while, they need to pick up their heralds, their drags, what they use on the infield. They need to pick that up and put it in a safe place, especially when the ball seasons are over.
Mhm. I don't know where they put it down there.
Well,
just
I
drop
took
them
and
off
pushed
the
them,
end.
well, Justin and I, we pushed the batting cage into there and into the home plate,
Mhm.
to the backstop, and I put all this drags and harrows and whatever they have, I put them in there for, after the baseball season, to get out of the way, because there's so many kids that play down there on the playground equipment,
Do you want them in, can they put them in the dugouts? I mean, would that help, or would,
they can,
because there's really not a storage place to.
What about back by where their sheds are, where they keep all
Yeah,
that
they
stuff,
can
can't
go
they
back
put it
there.
back there where it's out of the way?
You mean back in that back corner?
Where they
Yeah.
practice pitching and stuff?
I'll ask Mike. that-
And then sometimes they just drop them right there in front of the fence and expect it to be mowed. And you gotta end up dragging that harrow off
You mean inside the fence?
to get into the fence, yeah. They'll drop it right in front of the girls' softball.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with that, so I'd have to tell them they have to find a place to store it. But as far as the electrical goes, I will have them contact you. We're still, I don't think we're going to be doing that much heavy duty electrical on there because we've kind of run out of funds for the lights. But some of that was donated as far as the time to put those big electrical, whatever they did. Avista donated some of that, and the gentleman that lives here in town that works for Avista, he donated, yes, he donated a bunch of time to help with that. So, you know, most of that was donated time. Now we're hoping that, you know, we had one of the high school kids take that on as a senior project and raise some funds, that we've started our baseball light fund, and that's strictly separate from all baseball monies. We keep it separate, so whatever we get in for that. I got a hold of the Seattle Seahawks, or Mariners, to see if they have grant programs, and they won't donate to Idaho. So they said no. And we've been looking around for facilities that are discontinuing their lights, you know, and upgrading or whatever, so that we could possibly get those donated to us and stuff. They're not cheap, you know, they're not cheap at all. But that big baseball field, we would be able to bring in a lot of business to the city if we could get those lights put up, because we could have tournaments and stuff down there that we can't do now because we can't go that late. So if anybody knows of a place where we can get grants or something to get that done, you know, I'm still checking on it, Mike's checking on it, and Ty's checking on it to see if we can find a place to get more grants for that. Because it's for the community, you know, and as far as the Baseball Association goes, we try to do as much as we can for down there, you know, but I understand your question about the electrical and stuff. I didn't know there was a complaint about that, but we'll address that and let you guys know if anybody else wants to donate stuff for that. We did buy some gravel for down there this year. We bought some of the, whatever that material is that soaks up water for the mound and around the home plate. We didn't do too much upgrade this year because we did it mostly last year. We put a new backstop net up, we put new batting cages for the girls, we put a new batting cage for over where the boys have theirs, and we did get quite a few more people, businesses to put up signs around the park, so that really helped a lot this year. As you know, with the COVID, we didn't have a season last year, so our funds are getting depleted pretty fast for the association. So, and we are still paying the electrical bills down there for the lights, etc. During the Christmas stuff down there, we pay a little bit more because it costs more for the lights to have them down there, but we are still paying the Avista bill every month. Right now, thankfully, it's not much. And I don't know what else. We're hoping to have a better season this year, you know. It's been a struggle, you know, like everybody else the last year. So if there's any other questions, I could go.
I have two things, if I might.
Sure, Josh.
If we could have the players show some respect to the bathrooms and trashes and stuff like that. I mean, you go in there and there's seeds spit in the urinal, seeds just spit everywhere. And then maybe have a handful of players or something after the games. If the trash is full, take it to the dumpster.
I know they try to pick it up around the concession stand and stuff, and then,
Yeah,
you know,
but the surrounding cans
Mm-hmm.
get full and they just overflow.
Okay.
And we end up having to go out there and chase stuff down from the wind and stuff.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And I know that they do go in the dugouts and try to clean those out after each game, so that they're not.
There's kind of a joke on the girls keep theirs pretty clean, but the boys,
They're still not doing a good job?
well, when it takes about 3 or 4 days just to clean it. I mean, they can at least knock the dirt off of their shoes and things and pick up and when Rosie, she's a hard worker, and when she puts in 3 or 4 days of cleaning that's going a little too much.
Yeah, I would say so. I thought they were doing a much better job than that.
And,
Because that's one of the things on our list in the dugout, is that's one of their responsibilities, is to make sure their dugouts are clean. So if they're not doing that, then they're not doing their job.
the boys, it was terrible bad.
Okay.
The girls, I guess they have a little more respect for that.
They're girls. Come on, guys.
Rosie would be on them, so.
Okay, I will mention that, and we can add that to the coaches list. That's also on their list, so evidently they're not doing what they need to do if it takes 3 days to clean that up. I never thought it was that bad, but, is there anything else that, Josh, that you have a concern about?
I don't really know, Dustin, do you have anything?
I think we covered everything, just generally.
Yeah.
Just respect for the field
Oh, yeah,
and the bathrooms and stuff.
yeah.
And just kind of give us a heads up of what's going on, like, so we
Communication,
kind of
I
know.
think.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah. And I apologize for that, that was donated, and, you just go with them when they do that, and they did such a good job of putting our lines up and getting those ready for lights that,
Maybe before games, we could close the gates where people don't go back there and drive back there.
Well, that's kind of tough,
it's
because the
practice
coaches,
also.
yeah, and the coaches.
Well, I know, I mean, I've been down there a lot with
Yeah.
Logan and stuff, but, yeah, it's overwhelming, people to go down there.
If you want the coaches to go back there and close those gates after they get their stuff unloaded and stuff, I'm sure that,
Well, if they park back there, I mean, like I said, that's not a big deal, they're back there loading, they gotta have it there to load back up, but it's, the kids, the parents, I mean, I'm guilty of it too, I've done it too.
oh, yeah.
Not on the grass.
My husband
but-
drops me off back there, so.
Right.
Yeah, but I do know that. And then since the guys extended that playground, not so many people park back along that back fence, And that made a big difference, I think, with that portion. And then
Right.
people use that where they extended that playground out, that one side over there, as you come in the gate, people park right there.
Right, and see, that's not so much the issue as it is the other side where people are parking on each side of the roadway where the grass is, and then they're putting like half their vehicle in the grass and half of it on the gravel.
Yeah.
And then it's leaving ruts and going over that's
And
the
there's
biggest
sprinkler
issue.
heads right along the
Right.
edges of the grass.
Oh, by the gazebo.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. And what about the softball people that park out front by the highway? Does that cause a problem?
They're not supposed to, according to the state.
I know.
And there for a while, there were a few damaged cars from, foul tips. Anyway, so they kind of learned their lesson for a while, but I see they're trickling back in.
Yeah, they were this last year, I noticed out there parking in front, but, yeah. I know sometimes that parking lot gets full,
Oh, it does, yeah.
and so people have to find other places to park.
Well, they got the big parking.
Yeah, there's overflow.
That's what I mean, that parking lot gets full. I mean,
Not the
Yeah,
small one, I'm
They
talking
got
about the big one
gravel
over by
next
where the
to it.
dumpsters are.
Yeah.
You have to walk down, it's on the other side of the
You
girls'
have to walk
field.
down.
Downriver. from
oh, you mean where the
girls'
garbage?
Yeah, so that's the
section-
overflow parking
Oh,
spot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a huge.
See, I learned
people out
something,
there.
Yeah. And I'll
know.
see if I can get, when my helpers come this summer, we'll see if we can get that trail open back up.
Oh, that would be
We need
nice.
signs too that
Yeah.
says overflow parking.
Well,
Yeah,
I know
because,
that-
I know that with the buses and stuff, when you get buses in there and then you get the cars in there from all the parents and stuff, there's no room left, and I know that's partly why people are parking in by the gazebos, because there's no parking. So, and they maybe don't know, I didn't know that was overflow over there.
Maybe have the buses park
The-
in the overflow.
That might be a good place for them to park, is
Yeah, that would open up
Yeah.
10 to 15
at
spots.
least, because
yeah.
some of those buses parks,
Yeah,
take
there's
2 or 3
no reason
parking
for them to
places.
be
The
there.
girls' coach always have the girls the players park over there.
Mhm.
I don't know why the boys' coach has never had their players
far.
park over there.
Too far for him to walk.
I've been to some really distant softball fields. Some
But you know, that
baseball
would be a
fields in
good
my
place
day.
for the buses to park.
Yeah, buses and players could certainly
Buses and
park over
players,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
Leave
Good
the
idea.
parking area open for family and
Patrons.
spectators. and-
Okay, I will bring up your concerns and we will contact you guys,
Maybe we should-
Nick, with your concerns about any extra like electric. I know that we're not gonna be doing a lot this year because we don't have very much money left.
I'm sure we can.
So, but I will mention it, and I can't think of any big projects like that that are gonna be coming up. We did a lot of it not last year, but the year before, so we could get the park looking pretty spiffy. But I think right now, with all the work that we've done down there with the new net on the back of the backstop, the painting that we did around that, you know, and we did quite a bit of the painting and stuff down there the year before, but last year was kind of a lax year for everything, so thank you for your patience, and if you have any concerns, be sure to give me a call. Wendy's got my number, and I do apologize again for last week, or the last council meeting not making it, but you know how it's been with those shots. They're no fun. Okay,
Thank you.
anything
I
else?
appreciate it.
Okay, I will pass it along. I'm
Thank you,
gonna
thank you.
have to go this way, I got company coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Install the waste disposal bin. There's already one down there at the dumpsters down there, just to dump leaves and brush.
It's available all the time?
Every other Saturday.
You cannot have it open all the time because people will throw all kinds of garbage and junk in it. So you cannot have it.
Well, here, I'll come up here. So here, the issue is that either we have to provide a bin for people during this part of the year, or we're gonna have to start enforcing the ordinance. DEQ specifically says, do not burn leaves and grass clippings. Specifically, leaves are more toxic actually than wildfires because they have a low level smoke, and leaves are how trees release their toxins. And it's unbearable. And I'm listening to my daughter cough, so I've decided I'm just gonna do something about it. So, you know, technically, no one can burn anything of like leaves after 4 p.m. even with a permit. And there's an ordinance against smell. So the question is, does the city and the sheriff, or whoever you contract with, have the will to enforce the ordinances? What I'm trying to do is come up with an alternative. And I've spoken with the fire chief, I've spoken with residents have come to me about it. And it's something that's, I feel it's urgent. You're breathing this toxic leaves, enough's enough with it.
That dump spot that's behind the city building thing down there, or behind the sewer plant, is that open to everybody, or?
No.
So that's just the city thing. So every other Saturday, the bins are open.
Yeah, because you put it there, it's just like the recycling bins. People go down there and throw junk in it, and I have to dig it out.
Does the city of Kendrick have that issue? Because I know they provide this, I think they do.
I don't think they have it anymore.
They do. Unless they just recently took away, they did,
Yeah.
they did have that last week.
They
I did
have
look
right
at
by
it
the
last
city
week.
hall,
Yeah.
so the city
They
clerk
have
can
been.
keep an eye on and catch anybody that messes it up, so you
Yeah,
don't.
it's by their city hall.
Yeah,
it's right by the
who's
city
got
hall.
time to
There's
sit
by the
and
city
watch
hall.
So,
and
so
look
they
at
just
it?
Mhm.
I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
Well, if the city is not available to provide an alternative, then we're gonna have to turn to an enforcement.
Where would you
route.
want it? Where do you suggest?
Well, I was thinking down there, but I don't know what other locations. I know there's a city lot across from you and Nick. I doubt you want it there though.
City
We
lot.
said he bought from us.
Well, doesn't the city own property right across from you guys, right on the other side of Sam's? Is it the city right there, not far from
The
the
city
community
don't
center?
know nothing.
No, where are you talking about?
I thought there was a piece of property the city owns, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there. I thought there was a piece of property right across the street from you guys that's effectively used, I think, as a parking lot sometimes.
For the community center?
Yeah, it would be right above, I believe would be right above, where that pawn shop used to be. Like, just that little, like, parking strip right above that. Does the
So
city own
basically
that?
where our mailboxes are.
Does the city own that?
Well, that's city right away, it's not
Yeah,
city property.
it's not a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, it's just city right away.
Yeah,
And then next to it is, and that's where the overflow parking for the community center is.
and my yard,
And mine too, yeah, mine too. Yeah, but that's not, yeah.
So where were you thinking that you should put it?
I don't, well, right off the top of my head, right outside where the Saturday dump is.
My concern with that is that people are gonna see that and then they're gonna start dumping demolition
See, when
in
we
there.
had-
Well, look what they
And
dumped down.
garbage and,
Yeah, all the stuff that they dumped there by the gate.
yeah, so we'd have to try and, I mean, you'd want it somewhere not visible from the highway for sure. Cause I'm not saying not necessarily our citizens would do it, some would, but they're gonna get everybody passing by during hunting season
Well,
and
didn't it, when
everything.
we had the garbage cans down there, people that were just driving through with
Yeah.
carcasses of deer and stuff in the garbage cans and
It's
stuff?
tragic, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much the
Yeah.
same attitude people have about burning next to their neighbors too. And again, I encourage any of you to Google EPA leaf smoke, and you're just gonna spend all day reading how horribly toxic it actually really is. In addition to the annual summer bombardment of wildfire smoke. I mean, we really are in a health crisis situation here. And you know, again, if the city doesn't have resources, I'm requesting to leave a bin for the community. We're gonna have to probably look towards an enforcement route. I realize that doesn't happen overnight, but the reality is, it's not authorized. DEQ has it right on their website, do not do this. So, I mean, at some point, under Title 50 of the Idaho statutes, the enforcement of ordinances is under the authority of the mayor. It needs to be enforced, or an alternative provided.
So do we have to get another, buy another bin or what?
Well, you rent them,
From-
and I think Wendy got the prices of them.
It's, they only charge, LSI only charges a hauling fee of $190.74.
So every time it's emptied, it's $200.
So it'll only be $200 to bring it out, and then $200 when they came and picked it up.
Well, but if you have it empty,
Or, yeah,
because it's, you know, if you have it empty, like if you have it year round, say you have it empty once a month, it's $200 a month. They used to charge rental fees, but they must not do that for city businesses or city entities. Like I said, I mean, I would just be concerned about where to put it,
Where?
you know, and where the, like, I mean, the money's gonna come from as well. I mean, we don't wanna have to add another fee when we're adding fees to the,
Right.
I mean, I see the valid point of it, I do, I'm just trying to figure
They're
out.
required, something has to be done.
Well, we do have
We do
the
have
bulky waste site every other weekend that takes brush. So, and then if somebody sees somebody burning and is concerned about it, they can call the sheriff, because the sheriff is supposed to
Right,
enforce our
so this is what
ordinances.
the sheriff does, so I'm glad you brought that up. And please, in no way am I trying to be conflicting about this with you guys, I'm trying to be very eloquent. The sheriff says, well, I'll call the fire chief. Or, well, there's some of these ordinances we don't, that's just not true. Under, again, Title 50-902 of the Idaho statutes, the power to create an ordinance is solely in the hands of the council. And it has to be a quorum, which means no individual can overrule a city council ordinance. So for the sheriff not to show up and enforce the ordinance, they're either in violation of your contract with them,
Mhm.
or somebody's telling them without authority not to enforce certain licenses.
Well, we've had this issue with the sheriff's department before, where they don't want to come down because we're in the, you know, lower corner of the county and enforce our ordinances. So that's something that we would need to reach out to Sheriff Ritchie about again and tell him that, you know, whatever deputy or whatever needs to know that these need to be, because that's what we pay them for.
Yes, sir, and thank you for saying that, Nick. And in addition, it would be helpful if they actually knew the ordinances, or at least had immediate access to them.
They're on our website, aren't they, Wendy?
They're online.
If they, so they'll ask you what the ordinance is, and you'll say, oh, I'll quote it, and then they'll ask, well, what about, and they'll say something, and then they'll say, oh, you know, if you don't know exactly. I don't think it's realistic. Like, I have a bachelor's in pre-law, and I'm dumb about these things. I don't think it's realistic that the residents know these ordinances right off the top of their head. They're paying for the enforcement.
well, most of your residents don't even realize it's an ordinance anyway.
Right.
I mean,
They don't
shoot,
go to
they've
the
been burned
website.
loose since 19, you know, I mean, That's what people do.
Well,
And
no,
their yards
that's what
burn.
people used to do, and we used to not have wildfires either.
Right,
ever,
but that's
so-
what I'm saying, is they don't
Yes,
understand
ma'am.
that it's an ordinance.
That's absolutely a great point. So what I'm, so I appreciate it, if there is not, an alternative to the leaf bin, if we could please look at enforcing this. Again, this is specifically leaves.
Well, can't people take it down to the, where Rob works?
Yeah, every
for 2
other
weeks?
Saturday. The only months that it's not allowed is April and October, because that's when they do just household. Which kind of sucks for October, because that's a busy leaf
However,
season.
Rob will take it. I
Right,
don't wanna put him on the spot, but he
Because
had,
Rob is nice.
right.
Rob's the
I
best
think you
of
have a
us
personal
all.
investment.
But, so Rob will take it.
I would say Mark's right in that, it's just like in Mother House, they don't know the city code. I mean, they do, but they don't know, like I called when I had a neighbor who couldn't keep his darn goats out of my place. I got goats, but I didn't want his. And I called the sheriff's department and they were like, well, there's no ordinance against it. I go, yeah, there is, it's in zoning. And I read it to him, he's like, oh. And he came down and told me, keep your darn goats in there, but, for a little while. So I think if we don't go with the bulky or the, like, little ways, I agree that we need to, and Rich is usually pretty good at putting us out and say, hey, can you let your deputies know we'll figure out what that exact city code is, because normally they can get that out to their deputies and say, hey, if you get a call, this is the ordinance, expect to be enforced, because we ran into that with somebody else when the deputies was like, I can't remember what it was, and they were like, well, that's a citation, and it's like, no, yeah, technically he's kind of head of a thing, but anybody can sign a citation against their neighbor if they have to for the ordinance.
Right.
But Mark's right, you can't expect the Lake County guy to know every.
No, and they've been very polite on the phone.
Yeah, but getting out there is
Yeah.
always kind of, but I agree, I think maybe we could, if we want to reach out to Richie or Brandon, the patrol lieutenant or whoever, and just say, hey, here is the ordinance that we're having a specific documented issue with, and we expect your people to enforce, especially this time of year. I think that's, I'd prefer to see that, and then if we're still not getting what we think we should be getting from the sheriff's department, then maybe we consider the yard waste hauling, but I think we need to educate the sheriff's department on our expectations and what the law is, see if they will.
Because we are paying.
Yeah,
Right, we
exactly.
are paying. And then
Yeah.
that would also, I mean, because we can start looking at alternative spots if we decide to go where it's not in plain sight.
So I have a question. So is this just for leaves? So it would only be for a couple months in the fall?
Yes, sir, that's
So
really
you
what
don't
I-
need to run a bin all year long?
No, and grass clippings are bad too, but I don't know that I can point to a grass clipping incident. I can walk out right now probably, well, it's kind of raining, but, yes, sir,
So
I'm
it's
thinking
only-
8 weeks. And then, but there's a lot of burning in the spring, I don't recall it being that toxic. It's just really toxic. And there are parts of the town, I happen to live in one, where it does accumulate.
Everything that's burned up there,
What makes you think that people will go down there rather than just going every 2 weeks? I mean, they only have to wait another week and they can go and take it down to recycle already. So what makes you think that they're going to do that if you have it there for every week rather than burn it?
That's a great question, so I have 2 thoughts on that. The first one is that people have specifically told me that it's the fact that they're not available to do it on weekends, so I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And the other one is that I was gonna actually go knock on doors and say, excuse me, and I've actually been doing that for about 2 years. And I've had a few slammed in my face. Some people have responded. The folks in Nez Perce County across the river here responded very well after a few cuss words. They actually got a bin, just after I was able to make my case. So, again, just as a general philosophy, I like how the council doesn't try to strong arm rules on everyone. However, and tries to give people the benefit of the doubt. However, I was gonna really strongly urge people to do it in an unofficial way, and an education portion. So,
Well, probably people need to be educated because they don't know that.
right,
That causes that problem. So
Yeah.
that probably is, to start that first and then have the ordinances enforced and have the,
Sure.
and have the
And let them know, remind them about the bulky waste side.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't even realize that they could take stuff like that down to the bulky waste site.
Right.
They're probably thinking garbage
Put
items.
it in that.
Demolition stuff.
Demolition.
Yeah, put it in
We
the-
can certainly put it in the newsletter.
It's
Yeah.
not gonna
Maybe pop
change
it
in a
on
month
the
or 2
Facebook.
months.
Can you put it in your garbage?
Well, yeah,
You can put anything in your garbage.
I mean, it's in sacks.
yeah, put it in
Actually,
sacks.
according to DEQ, if you have regular pickup, you're required to. You actually technically aren't supposed to burn anything if you actually have regular garbage
Because I
pickup.
know Grandma, Elvine, she used to put all of her leaves in the garbage.
Mhm. If you go to Seattle or Portland or whatever, that's what they all do. You have to, you're not allowed to burn anything.
I dumped quite a few as a garbage man
Yeah.
for 15
Right.
years.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to reiterate, I'm talking about leaves. I don't want to interrupt anyone's roasting marshmallows. We have campfires at our place, you know.
Now, see, I burn all like my tomato plants and all my vegetable vines and stuff like that. I burn all that.
You don't compost?
Well, to a
Oh,
point,
so.
to a point.
Anyway, I appreciate it, thank you. And Jeff, I want to say thank you as a civilian. You've inspired people more than you know. And congratulations to Nick. So if you guys don't have any questions, I appreciate it very much. So, Wendy, is it okay to follow up with you if there's anything to? Okay, thank you guys.
Well, I would need to.
You know your aunt's gonna kill you.
I'll show you some text sometime.
License for the,
She smokes the whole time.
do we need to have them renew their license, their
So
liquor license?
Latah County's license expiration date is January 31st, and our ordinance is currently December 31st, so they don't jive. It's not it was something that I was made aware of recently, so this needs to be fixed.
So we just need to change ours to January?
January 31st is the expiration, so it'll run February 1st to January 31st will be the year-long license length. And then there's a few other things that I feel like they need to be, since yours is up on yours, since they need to be changed. The price shouldn't be listed in the ordinance. In case we ever do need to change it, we can change that in our fee resolution that we pass yearly. That makes a lot more sense. Let's see, sorry Jeff, you're a good sport. Our ordinance says that city council needs to approve the licenses, which you are certainly, if that's the way you want it to be done, you can certainly do that. But I do regularly have people coming in the day before their license expires to get it renewed. I mean,
All the time.
even when I send out the paperwork like 2 months in advance, I still get them in that last week. That's generally when everybody comes in to renew their license.
Have they ever not renewed one?
No, not since I've been here anyway. This all kind of came up because the market was sold and they're going to need to transfer their license, not a liquor license, but an alcohol license. We might consider adding a prorated fee in case they do need to switch in the middle of the year. Having to pay the entire fee, but of course, again, that's up to you. I did see that on a few other ordinances from other cities.
Well, those are good changes.
And then the hours of operation. Like say City of Kendrick does limit theirs to 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. And some of this may be state statute, I didn't look at state statute. So when I have Ken prepare this, he will certainly make sure that it's all correct there. But like City of Kendrick doesn't say anything about no alcohol on Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas from certain times and so on and so forth. So up to you guys if you decide you want it.
I know Lewiston does the 6 a.m. thing too.
Yeah, that's state Idaho.
That's state law.
6 a.m. to
6 to,
Right, and,
yeah,
and
2
it-
o'clock,
However,
2
Nampa-
a.m. to 6 a.m.
Nampa
no
won't sell alcohol after 1
fun
p.m.
juice
and then there is on election day,
on election day.
which
Election
I
day
thought that
for sure.
was
Yeah,
interesting.
8 o'clock.
So does the bottoms up close?
No liquor till after 8.
Do they do that on
No, they
election
close
day?
their liquor, their hard liquor, no
Yeah,
hard
they
liquor.
close off
You can
the
have beer.
cabinet.
Yeah, they
Okay.
just
I
lock
was just
them.
wondering if they
lock them.
actually did do
Yes,
that.
yeah, they lock their liquor
I don't
cabinet.
frequent
After
the bottoms
what?
up.
I think,
The reason they do,
open it up at 8.
the reason
Because
they do is
elections-
because the liquor inspector
Oh, on
will
election
try to
day?
catch
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So if they walk in and the cover's off your liquor cabinet, you
Yeah,
get
you're
a
in trouble.
$2,000 fine.
Okay,
So-
well, anyway,
Yeah.
that's just things to think about. If you wanna leave it in there, you can certainly leave it in there. If you wanna leave everything the same, and just change the date and please that fee, that would be great.
What you've written in here sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I like some good changes.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the licensing, I would say if they're just renewing a license, then we should need to approve it. But if it's like a new business coming in or something like that, then maybe we would want to,
Right?
I don't know, what everybody else's
Yeah,
thoughts
no, I
are.
agree with that.
Yeah. Well, isn't there, to sell liquor, isn't there, you can only have so many places selling liquor?
Yeah, there's only a limited number of.
Licensed
I
liquor
think
license.
we are only allowed
Two.
and we only currently have one active. Everybody else just has an alcohol license to sell beer, wine, or what have you.
Frosty beer in the morning.
Well, I move to make the changes that's noted in, when you noted in ordinance number 2003-1, with the exception of that they can just be approved unless they're a new business.
I'll second.
All in favor? Passes. So we need to swear in the new council members on
No, not till January.
January, yeah.
January meeting.
So we just approve the
So, normally, when we have an election, you guys would see the canvass results and you would accept the canvass results, but we don't have any canvass results because we technically sort of didn't have an election because there were 2 seats and 2 people running. So basically, I'm just here to say that Nick and Mark will be the new council members that will be sworn in January to fill those 2 seats that are open, and then the council can approve that, and then I guess we've covered all the
Unless
bases.
we have a recount.
Oh, we can recount all day, it's always gonna be the same.
I knew it.
All right, so I guess we need to vote on that
We
then.
just need a motion. yeah.
Okay, just make a motion to accept the 2 council members.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Passes.
It's a
Much
new thing,
appreciated.
so I
Thank
wasn't
you. You're
really sure what to do.
Okay, Josh.
Okay, so, we've started winterization as it is getting cold. The starters for the transfer station, transfer pump up there, it was a necessity, and I understand they're expensive, but we had to have them. We got a 7.5 foot tall angel and I believe 7 foot tall drummer boy, or drummer,
Drummer
it's a
slash
nutcracker. But he's not a drum set, so, and they are gonna take the place of the snowflake and the wreath that was up last year that didn't survive the season. So,
That's great. I'm looking forward to seeing those.
yeah, they're really neat, and I think they're gonna look really cool. And we got all the lights that we could possibly need and extras, so, if you guys end up needing more, let us know. Let me see, I got a report today about lights on at the ballpark. Does the breaker need to be flipped to, or is that on the same circuit, the dugouts, is that on the same circuit as the lights on the on the girls' field, or is that?
Well, there's 2 breakers, one for the dugout and then one for the field, but nothing should be plugged in unless, because we haven't put any extension cords
okay.
out yet.
But we can shut the lights off then, though. because I guess the lights were on.
The field
I was,
lights?
yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
field
I
lights
saw
are
on
separate,
the
the
girls'
field lights are
field.
separate.
Okay, so we can turn those
Yeah.
off if they are.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
that pole by the.
That's what I
dugout.
thought.
Yeah, there's
I just wasn't sure.
3 or 4 in there, so
I have no clue.
I wonder if somebody turned them on.
Yeah, it's a good possibility, because that breaker bar, or that panel isn't,
Right,
Is a mom.
locked or.
yeah, we haven't plugged anything in or turned any breakers on or anything yet.
So I'll run down there afterwards and make sure that they're off. But, yeah, that's really all I got. Pretty uneventful month.
That's good. The only thing I have is, we had the evacuation drill, and Dory is gonna write an article because Josh said that there were some people that are still just driving through, people in town, that when they're having the streets blocked off, they're still just
I had 4 people drive through,
driving through it, so we need to,
because they lived close, or they just didn't think the rules applied to them.
so we're gonna have Dory write an article for the newsletter, because we're not having another evacuation drill until spring. But
Maybe you should have a sheriff car down
we do.
Oh, they
Baseball
are,
bat.
yeah,
Oh,
the
is
police
he,
were there.
he's there, he walks down with us, I don't know what, he doesn't bring his car, does he?
No, I spoke with him and said that, maybe the next round, we could have a officer down there somewhere, or, because, yeah, it's just,
Well, there should be 2,
Well,
one on each side of it.
that would make sense, yeah,
So,
Yeah.
because,
right through that.
you know, there's a couple of them, there was 2 different sets of kids. They had the younger kids and then the older kids, and they walked back at separate times. So there was a lull in there where people thought that they could just drive through. I mean, right through cones, and I have a stop sign in my hand,
Oh my gosh,
and, yeah.
We get that all the time. Yeah, it was nice.
Yep.
Stop, stand right in front of Doty.
I can make
No.
some.
I can stand in the road and they run over me or they,
Josh,
yeah.
spike
Yeah.
strips.
there. That's what he's saying.
Road flares.
No, you guys would have too much fun with that.
Going back to
Yes,
the
and
12
then the only
days.
other thing is, we do have an ordinance, see, this is where we have, talking about ordinances that don't get followed, is we have dogs running loose, and we have told people that no, you know, city doesn't pick them up. We have to call, you know, the police, and they don't wanna come down and get them. But there is this one black lab that's causing a problem at school, and I don't know whose he is, but there was another dog, I know who that is, and she knows he gets out, but anyway, we're gonna have to call the cops or something, because that black lab is big. He wants to play, but he's big, and he's knocking the kids down, and he's lifting his leg on some of the kids. And then they come in and they've been peed on. You know, this kid comes in and he says his dog lifted his leg, and I look at his shoes, and no, it was his shirt.
Oh,
Skull dog.
Oh,
Short kid.
that's all.
Don't make fun of short people. You're sitting beside 2 of us.
I don't have anything.
So this Saturday, the 13th, is our final decorating day,
What time?
10 o'clock.
Because at 1 o'clock is the game.
What game?
The,
Oh, the football
The
game.
football game at
I'm
Kingdom.
not in
Oh.
school anymore.
We'll be done by then, because we just have 2 trees left to do, put the extension cords out, and just a few minor little things to finalize. So I don't anticipating it being too long.
I'll stop running cords out.
Well, I'll be down later this week to finish the gazebo and some other things, so it should be pretty quick on Saturday. And then we'll just do a test run that night, and that'll give us a week to make any changes that we need to change. I did get word from Mary Lou that she has 2 girl classes that are gonna come down and dance, and Vicki said that the choir, band,
There was something,
something will be there.
yeah.
The library had talked about, we haven't had a library meeting for a while, but they reached out to us for having one next week, and they'd kind of talked about if we were still doing the hot chocolate thing, So, I know I talked to you a little bit about it, Mark. I won't have my meeting with them until the 17th, and then we'll know, because that's kind of a fundraiser for us, but nobody's really showed any interest. So I'll know more next week, and then we'll figure something out, and even if we don't make it happen this week, or this year, maybe we can start working for next year or something.
Sure, and if you need us, we can be available Saturday, even if you guys drive through or we take it down, whatever works for you. We can be
Yeah, like I said, I'll talk to the library, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
So there will be cocoa and probably some cookies and stuff, and so it'll be a lot better than last year, and hopefully we'll, and it starts at 5, so everybody needs to be there.
And we have plenty of cords.
We have a tote upstairs, and then I have half a tote in the shop, in my shop as well, so.
Of course.
Of course.
Okay.
So, but if I run short, we'll get together, because I know when you guys do the snowmen and stuff, we always try to make one connection over there so that we can
Right.
minimize the people.
And we ended
turning
up
on.
getting one of those steak
Oh, the spikes.
spikes with a timer on it also.
Oh, good. So
So we're gonna put a timer on the snowmen and stuff and the baselines.
If you need more, I've got a few that I can give you.
Okay, great. Yeah,
So we'll get that all figured out.
Yeah, that way, they don't need to be on all day and it's harder
Right.
on the lights anyways, I imagine.
Yep. So, yeah, that's my big thing.
How about you, Randy?
Just two things. I have, the audit November 18th. Bailey is now going to be supervisor. This is her first year, so she's kind of nervous, so she said maybe the 19th too. And I'm feeling her pain. No, been there, done that. But it should go really smoothly. Me and Wendy were working on it today because our computer had to be scanned for a virus, possible virus, because I opened something and found out I shouldn't have.
Oh, you should have Dan, the computer man at school. He is so, did you open that? Did you open it? He tries to trick us, about something.
No, but this was actually from the city of Arco, and it went out to all cities. And they got hacked, but we don't, whatever I opened didn't do anything because we didn't have any threats, so.
There's a security concern about Google Chrome also. Not regular Chrome, but Google Chrome, if you use it as a search engine, so.
And there's also one about P1FCU.
Is there?
Yeah, that it's not the exact same address and people are logging on to their bank accounts.
Oh.
So make sure you use P1FCU.org. Yeah.
The next one is just an FYI because it is November. Next month you will need to to vote on the LGIPs roll over. They're down at the bottom of this.
So are we
other
doing the December
deposit.
meeting then? This year? We are going to, okay.
And, so we will need to decide if we're gonna do 6 months again. I don't
Are the
know.
certificates?
Yeah,
Okay.
certificates. Oh, did I say LGIPs? No, the certificates from Potlatch.
Do they roll over in December?
Yes.
Like after the meeting?
Yes. I believe we have until December 10th, but then we have 10 days after that too.
The next meeting's on the 14th.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So, but we still have time on the 14th, because you still have 10 days from there to make your adjustment. But if we don't want to do anything, we want to keep it with 6 months, which is, might be a good idea. I don't know what the interest rate right now is. I'll find out by the next meeting, and we can make the but also down at the bottom of the page, it tells you what our current rate is right now. So, which is really crappy. We're losing at least about $145 every quarter for each one of those.
Compared to what we had previously.
So we're not actually, we're not losing it, we're just not gaining as much as we were.
Right. So, but, so I said I'd let you guys think about that. You can look it over, figure it out. If we roll it over for 6 months, when I went to conference, I was talking to some he's kind of like the financial, he's not the financial CEO,
The
Scott,
guy from Rexburg?
yes.
Yeah.
He-
Yeah.
He kind of takes care of the money, making sure that they're getting the best rates and stuff for their money and saving. So I thought I might reach out to him too in the next 6 months to see if there's some place or some way we can move these and maybe make better.
But we were making pretty good. We're ready for potlatch.
We were, but not now.
Interest rates
Nobody
took a
is
nosedive.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nobody is now.
I know. But we were doing very well, yes. And even the LGIPs are bad. So, I mean, the interest on some of them is like $2 every month, I'm like. So, but these are just things to think about, and I'll try and get you more information. So,
I don't really have much, except I did get a hold of Eyeball. I am eligible to take my wastewater 2 test as soon as they allow me to. I had to wait till November 5th, it's past November 5th. Literally, they just need to let me schedule the test. I don't have to go be reapproved or anything, they just have to say, okay, go take your test.
Good.
So,
yay!
that's it for that. Don't think I have anything else.
No, I don't know anything.
I move to adjourn.
Second, we're out of here.
We're having